These are my top 10 best movies of 2025. A year that I feel like was honestly one of the worst years for film we've had in quite a while. There were some really good films, but I don't feel like in this entire year we had a single film I'd say was a masterpiece. Not too many great films, just a lot of okay to good films that we had. But let's jump into my list. We're in my partially built out camper van, by the way. Let me show you around. Here's the front seat. Started working on the bed today. Gonna go to Home Depot after I film this video and get some more work done. So let's start off with my honorable mentions. The first honorable mention I have is Fantastic Four. I like this movie more than I thought I would. I like Ralph Fiennes as Galactus. I like the cast of Fantastic Four. It was pretty good. Companion was a really fun film that I saw earlier in the year. Thunderbolts I enjoyed way more than I thought I was going to. The Naked Gun with Liam Neeson was one of the funniest films I've seen all year. I didn't like the third act. I thought for Naked Gun it went way too sci-fi, way too AI futuristic. I like the Naked Gun movies being more in a real world setting, but I still like Naked Gun. Bugonia by Yorgos Lanthimos. When Yorgos first came onto the scene, when he came out with The Lobster, Killing of a Sacred Deer, The Favorite, I was like, this is one of the best directors alive right now. Since then, he's kind of disappointed me. I enjoyed Poor Things somewhat. I thought Begonia was pretty good, but I don't think he's made a great film since, and I feel like he's kind of fallen off. But I like Begonia, and I hope Yorgos Lanthimos makes a comeback, at least in my eyes. I know a lot of people think he's still nailing it. I also really liked Friendship with Paul Rudd and Tim Robinson. I thought that was a really fun, awkward, sad, funny movie. And then my final honorable mention, the most haunting ending probably of all of 2025 to me, the one that kind of shook me to my core, was the film Presence. A film told from the perspective of a ghost by Steven Soderbergh. It was an interesting movie. I don't think it was a great movie. It's not one that you're going to remember the characters really or rewatch much, but for a one-time watch, I thought it was a really interesting, haunting, sad film to check out. Number 10 on my list is Warfare. Warfare was a tense, sad, scary, realistic feeling war film. They don't dumb down the dialogue at all for the audience. They're speaking in their army code the entire film, and you're just trying to keep up with what's going on. And this movie, you just feel bad for everybody involved. You're like, why the F are these dudes in this effing apartment? They can't get out. They're just getting bombs dropped on them. Nobody can save them. Like, what are they even doing there? Just fucking around? Like, it's so sad that they were put in that position. But Warfare is an awesome movie. Number 9 on my list, one of my favorite movies of all time, is 1987's Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I've been a huge Predator fan of the movies, of the video games, of the toys, of the Yautja my entire life. And to see the Predator, the Yautja, explored like Dan Trachtenberg explored them in Predator Badlands, I loved watching the Predator explored. I thought this was one of the better blockbusters of the year. I don't think it's perfect. I think it has a lot of weak points in it, especially in the third act, in the second act as well, with some of the action scenes and in the opening. But when you take the action out of it and just focus on like the Yautja story itself, I really enjoyed Badlands. Number 8 on my list is another Dan Trachtenberg Predator film. This is the animated one, Killer of Killers. I thought Killer of Killers was awesome. My entire life as a Predator fan, I've always wanted to see, I'm like, why doesn't the Predator go back in time to the medieval times and we get medieval Predator, or Viking Predator, or Native American Predator? And then finally, Dan Trachtenberg came along and started doing that. He gave us Prey, and then he gave us Killer of Killers. And he's giving us these Yautja in these different worlds that you wouldn't expect to see the Yautja in, because for the longest time they were just doing the Yautja in modern day. But I really like Killer of Killers. Again, I thought the third act was a little bit weak. It got a little bit too blockbustery for me, but I like Killer of Killers. Number 7 on my list is Zach Cregger's Weapons. I really liked Weapons. Now, Weapons was my number 1 most anticipated film of 2025. I was so excited to see Weapons. It did disappoint me. It wasn't as great as I was hoping, but I still really liked it. I thought it was one of the scariest, most tense horror movies that we've had, at least of the 2020s. I love a good witch story, and so I really enjoyed Weapons. I wish it focused more on the teacher, the students, and the witch. I didn't like that we left for like an hour to focus on this cop and this kid and this principal. Like, those characters were fine, and that was all fine, but I thought the heart of the story and the true most interesting part of the story was the teacher, the students, and the witch. And whenever that was on screen, I was loving the film. Number 6 on my list is a film I haven't seen anybody talking about, and that is Magazine Dreams starring Jonathan Majors. One of the best performances of the year, one of my all-time favorite movies, I believe it's 1975, is the documentary with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Pumping Iron. I love Pumping Iron so much, and Magazine Dreams felt like I was watching Pumping Iron combined with Nightcrawler. And I think it's a really, really good film. That's number 6 on my list. Number 5 on my list is one of the most, I guess, just dialogue captivating movies of the year. A movie that I didn't even watch in theaters because I thought it would be kind of boring, and then I watched it at home and it blew my mind. The Long Walk. I like The Long Walk so much more than I thought I would. These characters, every kid in this film did such a great job with their performances. Throughout the days of walking, as the days go on, they're talking different. They're walking different. Like, they were doing their performances through their entire body and soul, and it felt so real. And just watching these characters walk and talk, form these friendships and these bonds as they're in the most, friggin' horrific thing you can imagine that's, so sad. I really, really liked The Long Walk. It was one of the most, I wish I watched in the theaters. Number 4 on my list is Marty Supreme. I don't love Marty Supreme. Personally, I hate the last 5 minutes of the movie. I felt like they completely kind of abandoned Marty's character and did a whole 180 switch up on us on the last 5 minutes. It didn't feel subtle. It felt forced. But regardless from that, I effing love the movie. I think Marty Supreme 20 years ago, this felt like a film that Martin Scorsese and a young Leo DiCaprio would have made. Josh Safdie, the energy he directs this film with, I would have watched another 30 minutes. I wish it went on another 30 minutes. I wanted to see more of Marty pursuing this dream that he has. Josh Safdie, his directing style, I really, really love. Timothée Chalamet, who I'm sometimes a hater of, I thought crushed it in this movie. It wasn't just a ping pong movie. It was one of the most entertaining, intense, random, funniest movies of the whole year. And I really love watching a character who's just so passionate and just so full of drive to make anything he wishes happen. And Marty Supreme honestly blew me away. If I didn't hate the last 5 minutes, it probably would have been my number 1 film of the year. Number 3 on my list is Sinners. I love a good vampire film. I love a good classic monster film. And Sinners was a very different one from what we've gotten in the past. Even if it didn't have vampires in it, it would be an incredible movie. And with the vampires added in, Sinners was just such a captivating film to watch. And it's one I'll probably rewatch once a year. Number 2 on my list is the zombie movie nobody's talking about, 28 years later. I love Danny Boyle. I understand maybe it's not on other people's top 10. Danny Boyle's style of filmmaking speaks to me. He has an aesthetic, a style, a pace to his films that I just love. I love Trainspotting. I love Trainspotting 2. I love 28 Days Later, and I love 28 Years Later. You're watching this kid Spike on this journey, on this mainland, and you watch him in the first act with his father, and then you watch him with his mother, and then you watch him solo, and the lessons he learns from his parents, and you're watching the growing of a boy into a man. I thought 28 Years Later is probably the most underrated film of 2025. And my number 1 favorite film of the year, the one film that I think will go on 20 years from now, this is going to be looked at as one of the great epics of the 21st century. And that's Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another, with Leonardo DiCaprio, one of my favorite actors in the world, Benicio del Toro, and the performance of the year by Sean Penn. I loved One Battle After Another. I think it's the only movie all year that I saw in the theaters 2 times, which I rarely ever do, but One Battle After Another got me back a second time. And it's a long movie to do that too. If you haven't checked it out, check out that movie because it's phenomenal, and I think 20 years from now, that's the movie we'll be talking about from 2025. So that's my top 10. Warfare, Predator Badlands, Predator Killer of Killers, Weapons, Magazine Dreams, The Long Walk, Marty Supreme, Sinners, 28 Years Later, and One Battle After Another. What was your favorite movie of the year? Peace.